What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and we are back live on our YouTube channel. As a lot of you guys probably knew, we did our match watch along for the first time over on Dortmund's Twitch, and now we're coming back for an interactive 5 takeaways, our nice little segment on the channel, our first segment on the channel, but I felt like it'd be a good one to have a decent conversation because I saw a lot of you guys talking about it and saying that the conversation is not over yet. So I thought we would start it off here and see what we're able to do. So welcome back, everyone. Can't wait to talk with some of you guys and try to figure out what happened in this game. My 5 takeaways will be a little interesting. I'm going to go through it one at a time, try to go through the comments with you guys to get your opinions on them. But we're going to start off with our very first takeaway, and our first takeaway is going to be our first halves. And that's with the way we started the game. And we had a lot, I thought the movement on the players was good. I thought the passing was incredible. A lot of tic-tac-toe plays. We also had a goal that was a foot offside a minute into the game. It was honestly incredible. It was a great start to the game, but we didn't score. Hit a few posts, had a goal ruled out. It went exactly as we basically did not want it to go. On top of that, did what we did. But the first half, I don't know how to criticize it because I was really impressed and I thought we were very unlucky not to go into halftime with a lead. But the first takeaway is the fact that it started to bite us in the butt. A lot of times this season we've had very dominant first halves, went in at 0-0, 1-1, whatever it may be, and then eventually run them down. Didn't happen today. Today just wasn't one of those days where it was able to work, and we went into the second half poorly. Which brings me to my second takeaway, which is funny enough to be, obviously, the second half. And I'm doing it like this because it's a game of 2 halves, and it's a cliche and it's something you guys hear all the time, but we did not look like what we did in that first half. The passing wasn't on, the decision-making was poor, it led to them hitting on the counter, and yes, it was a nice goal, and it was against the run of play, but for the most part, it was just a completely different looking team, and I just didn't quite know what to do. So those are the first 2 takeaways, is basically first half versus second half. Pain, like how we tied with Mainz. And yes, we are tied with the team that is now in dead last. But every time these bottom clubs scores worldies, WTF. It was a good goal. It was a hit, and it was against the run of play. And Berkey was completely stretched and just could not get there. They got a lucky goal. And unfortunately for us, the first half just wasn't meant to be. We should have been able to put the ball in the back of the net. We did. Like I said, it was a beautifully worked goal. Just sucked that goal didn't count. And then we had a few posts. Hello, Josh. You know me as one of the best goalkeepers in football. Adrian, how are you doing, my friend? Munir legit has 0 passing. Munir, I thought, had a very good game. Munir could have single-handedly won us the game with the work he did and obviously scoring the goal and then obviously drawing to the pen. Munir isn't good. We need a new right back. So I sort of disagree with that. My third takeaway is going to be Thomas Meunier. And I thought that Meunier was honestly a solid player today. I thought that he did very well running up and down the pitch. I thought his distribution was pretty decent. He obviously got in there for the goal. He went for and he was making very promising runs, which is the reason he scored a goal, and also the reason that he led to the penalty, which Royce obviously should have took. So my third takeaway was a positive game from Meunier. And yes, we know how Meunier is. He isn't the most offensive fullback, but for the most part, I was impressed with what he did, and he could have won us this game. So I see that some of you guys in the comments obviously don't fully agree with that. But I don't have any issue with the way that Thomas Meunier played, and I was very impressed, and if Royce would have put that in the back of the net, it would have been, honestly, a great goal. My fourth takeaway is a combination of Haaland and Moukoko, mainly because Haaland just wasn't really on today. I mean, he had some promising runs, it just couldn't quite get it into the back of the net for him today, and it just was one of those things. And the Moukoko thing I want to talk about is that I like the fact that when we went down 1-0, Edin Terzic made a decision instead of waiting till the 75th, 80th minute to try to scrape back something. Right at the 60th minute, he made a change. He brought on Moukoko. He turned it into what I saw, a 4-1-2-1-2. Brandt and Sancho being the outside mids, Chan as a CDM, Royce as a cam, and then the 2 strikers, which was very positive. We got back into the game, and we, like I said, we should have won. Which was my final takeaway before I dive into the comments, is our penalty situation. And Yes, this game can be looked at in many different ways. There's a lot of different layers to it. I thought there's a lot of spurts in the game where I thought we looked very good, very comfortable. I wasn't overly worried going into halftime at a 0-0 game because I thought we were just so far the superior team. Didn't go out hot like we did in the second half, which led to obviously a counterattack goal, built our way back up, and honestly should have won. We should have won. If that ball would have went in the back of the net from the penalty, that would have been game, set, match, and we could have did a sigh of release. Unfortunately, it didn't go in, and I'm never going to hate on Marco Reus. I mean, there's a lot of hate going around with him. That's just because how people are and social media is. But for me, I have absolutely no problem with Reus taking it up till now. Reus is usually a relatively good penalty taker. He missed his last penalty. Yes, he scored it, but the penalty he took in the last time was saved, and then he tapped in the rebound. That counts as a penalty miss, and then today's effort was poor. He missed it. It is what it is. He'll take the blame. He's a captain, and he'll walk with his head high because that's what a leader should do. However, I think moving forward, I think we should look at another penalty taker. And yes, that's common sense to say, but it's tough taking it away from your skipper. Marco Reus is, like I said, a relatively good penalty taker. But when you miss back-to-back and it bites you in the butt like this, you need to go and maybe have a talk with the staff, talk with a couple other players who could potentially take it. Sancho and Haaland are both great penalty takers, especially Haaland. I think Haaland will more than likely take the next penalty, and I think Reus will probably be all right with that, knowing that he missed 2. But those were my 5 takeaways, guys, so we can rip through them all here with the comments with you guys and see what we got to say. Reus is my favorite player, and I know he's yours too, Josh, but this is just unacceptable. If you're not confident at the penalty, don't take it on. Really, really disappointed. It's a fair way to look at things, but like I said, Reus is good at penalties. He is. He hit a lot of penalties over the years. He's got a decent conversion rate. He missed the last one, but it didn't bite us in the butt. That's a toughy situation because the penalty was saved. He did not go in the net. If the goalie would have got a little bit more on it, it could have went somewhere else and Reus couldn't have tapped it in. It didn't bite him in the butt last time, even though it counts, as my opinion, a missed penalty. This one was honestly, sorry Reus, it was a pathetic attempt. Never looks good when you miss the net. I didn't think he went up there not looking overly confident. I think he was a little shaken that he missed his last penalty. And now as a leader, going forward, you're going to have to move on and have a new penalty taker. It is what it is, and it's probably, in my opinion, going to be Haaland. Lucas says, I said it before, I'll say it again. I think it's time for Reus. It's over. It's sad, but I think it's true. So I thought Reus was playing relatively well leading up to these weeks, and I thought Reus looked pretty well in the first half of the game. I honestly did. I thought his movement was good. His distribution was good. He had that beautiful touch pass to Haaland that could have been a goal. I didn't have any issue really with the way that Reus played. I think the penalty miss was very disappointing, and it needs to be addressed. And it's a touchy situation because he's our captain. But honestly, it is what it is, and it's probably going to lose his job at the penalty takers. Mainz beat BVB 2-0 the last 2 times, so 1-1 was an improvement. There's always hard team to play against. It is true, but like it said around Dortmund, I mentioned it a bunch of times before. When it comes to some of the bigger games like Leipzig, Leverkusen, Gladbach, we seem to do well. When it comes to some of the lower-end teams, Augsburg, Freiburg, Mainz, Bielefeld, we drop points. And it's a tough pill to swallow. And if we're going to fight our way back into a title race, we have to win these kind of games. And it's just a shame it didn't go our way today. And we're going to have to bounce back quickly because we got a midweek game against Leverkusen followed by a Gladbach game. Haaland's second half was kind of puke. Yeah, he had a very, very quiet second half, 100%. So a player misses a pen and he is apparently finished. Yeah, and I have not taken many runs at Reus, and I'm not taking a run at Reus. I thought Reus had a positive game. I honestly did. I thought he was very, very involved in the first half, and he looks like he's getting back on form. He missed a penalty. It is what it is. More than likely, he's going to not take the next penalty because we have 2 other excellent penalty takers. It's an awkward conversation, but you can't miss 2 in a row. You see this kind of situation all the time with PSG, Manchester City, a lot of penalty takers who want it because it's a very confident player, but at the end of the day, if you miss a couple in a row, you're probably going to lose it. And Reus would probably have no problem passing it on. That's what a good leader can do. Mainz had no business getting back into the game, but somehow managed to shoot ourselves in the foot. I don't know how we didn't score in the first half. Well said, dominated the first half, should have went in with a lead. And what happens on a counterattack from a 25-yard left footer? It is what it is. Josh, to be honest, you're saying he did good just because he scored. I'm not saying just because he scored. I thought Thomas Meunier made a lot of forward runs. I thought his ball distribution was better. The first goal that, if it counted, from Haaland came directly from a nice ball from Meunier. I was very satisfied with the way that he was going forward and coming back. He scored a goal and he got involved and could have won us a pen. I don't, considering how Meunier's played over the seasons, I don't think this game, by any stretch of the imagination, should suggest that Meunier had a poor game. I just wish Royce could have had the momentum back. I don't know. I kind of wish Royce just knew that he missed the last one and passed it on to Haaland. If Lewandowski was in Dortmund, we would win this game because he knows how to jump in headers. Well, so does Haaland, man. Haaland's been a big game player when it comes to late goals. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if Haaland scored a late one. He just could not get involved in that second half. I don't think he looked overly comfortable playing alongside Moukoko. I was watching them playing up front, and Moukoko and Haaland were very, very close together. They were kind of making runs in towards each other, a couple of loose balls. I don't know if it's going to work switching into a front two. It might have been better to have Stefan Tigges come in, more of an aerial presence than Moukoko, even though Moukoko was the one who led to the goal. But it's frustrating, man. I mean, it's my debut over on Dortmund's Twitch, and I desperately wanted to win, and obviously a goal from Royce would have been absolutely perfect, but sometimes it's just the way it is. Pens are hard, but I mean, I watched Erling Haaland take a penalty, and he takes it with such confidence because he's a striker. It's why a lot of strikers like taking penalties, because all they want to do is score goals, and they are pissed if they don't. He's also got good technique. In the last few penalties I saw him take, goalies went the wrong way. So not only did he beat him with power, pace, and precision, goalie's nowhere near it. There's a lot of comments here. There's room for abuse for any of our players, but not a player of ours, not even Royce, is above criticism. Yep, and I admit it. Like I thought Royce had a decent game, but he missed the pen and it cost us the game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This result, unfortunately, is on Royce. And going forward, he'll probably not be taking our penalties. Hard luck, Josh. Hopefully we'll win tomorrow. Assuming you mean on Tuesday, but yes, I agree. I feel like Royce's free kick time is over too, not going to lie. Well, considering that we have Sancho and Guerrero able to take it, potentially, I mean, Royce was a set-piece specialist. The ones today did not suggest that. I totally see what you mean, but potentially they could be gone. To be frank, Royce should no longer take penalties. Just completely unacceptable. He missed back-to-back. Like you said, it's one thing to shoot and the goalkeeper stop it, but to completely miss the net. Yeah, Jose, and I agree, man. And penalties are an awkward situation because you want to take them because you're the leader, you're the skipper. You want to take the pressure to be able to do that. But Royce has missed penalties in the past. There's no getting by that. He's not a top-notch penalty taker, but he's a good penalty taker. But when you miss back-to-back like this, there's no way they're going to put him out there for the next penalty. So I think you guys can be well assured that the next penalty will be taken more than likely by Haaland. Oh man, the Twitch was toxic. There was a little anger when he missed the penalty, and it sucked. And it's a tough result to swallow, especially because Mainz is in dead last place. I know, it is what it is. Our only chance now is if Bayern lose tomorrow, which is unlikely. Yeah, there's a lot of strange results going around. We got to pray for the fact that Freiburg can do some sort of upset, which I wouldn't put it past them, but it just, like I mentioned, as soon as we seem to fight our way back into a title race with a Wolfsburg and a Leipzig performance, it disappears. So I don't know how to take that. Haaland was rubbish, but no one would talk about that. Haaland's second half was pretty poor, and it sucks because he had such a strong game against, obviously, Leipzig. We thought he'd be back firing, but I mean, he's not going to be happy about it either. So I mean, it wouldn't be surprising that Leverkusen game if Haaland comes back out there with an absolute vendetta to come and score a goal. But it's just, it was tough. How was Brandt? I thought Brandt had a relatively good game. I thought he wasn't playing his most comfortable position. In the second half, when we switched to the 4-1-2-1-2, he was out on the right. He was delivering a lot of balls. They weren't overly incredible, but they weren't poor balls. He's one of those mysteries, playing in a position that he's not unbelievably uncomfortable in, but Meunier is improving overall. He played well against Leipzig and played well against Mainz. I agree with that. I do think that Meunier had a good game, not only because he scored. I look at the runs he makes. I look at how he backtracks and covers space there, and I've been very impressed with that. So there's no reason, in my opinion, that you guys should think that obviously Meunier's had a bad game, because I really don't think he did. Sancho didn't even keep the ball for a few seconds. Man, he kept losing it. That was a subject that we should potentially talk about. Is I thought in the first half, Sancho was walking around people left, right, and center. He had good touches on the ball. He made the right decisions. He was making good passing. He set up Brandt for a beautiful opportunity. That was a nice save by the Mainz keeper, who, by the way, had an excellent game. But that second half, I don't know if the panic set in from the Mainz goal, but Sancho's, those same moves and same kind of movement he was doing was just not working. He was going all over the place. The ball was lost quite a bit, and he was getting frustrated. And the second half, there wasn't a lot of players, in my opinion, who had an overly good second half. The front four, in my opinion, had a great first half. Meunier was arguably our best player in the second half, mainly because, obviously, he would have contributed to the goals. But it's a tough pill to swallow, man. At home to Mainz, who's dead last in the table. That's doesn't scream that we should have be title contenders. But Sancho didn't. Oh, that was the one I read. I'm just sad that Royce is getting back to his best, and the penalty miss will bring his confidence down. We will have any success this season. We need Royce as best. Yeah, it was pretty frustrating for Royce, and I thought he was playing, but like a couple people just mentioned that they think he's finished. I absolutely don't think that Royce is finished. I think Royce, if anything, was building up his form. But back-to-back penalty misses, and knowing he cost his team 2 points against the dead last place team, that's a tough pill to swallow. Royce isn't going to be sleeping tonight. Berkey should have saved that shot from Mainz. That's a tricky one to suggest. The way I looked at it, Berkey was beaten near post, which is a weakness for Berkey's game. But it was a rocket, and Berkey did look full stretched at his near post. I don't know what more he can do. Sometimes he gets lost in his positioning, which leads to goals like that beating him. It's not the first time he's been beaten at his near post. And it was a rocket, but nonetheless, we should have scored more than one goal against this Mainz team. Now Schalke is last. They have a game at hand, though. They have a game at hand. I really hope Royce shuts his criticism next match with a goal contribution. I do as well. And I can almost promise you that next penalty we get, Royce will be the first one to hand the ball over to Haaland or Sancho. I really do. He is that kind of player. And unfortunately, it just wasn't lucky for him today. Why did our coach not use all of his subs? That is a good question, and I was a little curious as to why. The way I saw it was just the personnel on the bench didn't quite fit what he wanted to do. When we went down and he brought in Moukoko, we switched into a 4-1-2-1-2. Berkey was in net. Meunier was our right backs. Hummels and Akanji center backs with Guerrero left back. Chan was our lone CDM. Brandt was on the right mid. Sancho left mid. Royce, Cam, Moukoko, and Haaland strikers. He didn't really want to play with that. I'm looking at the bench on who he could have brought on. He could have arguably brought on Paslak, but Meunier was playing well, and so was Guerrero. You're not going to take either one of them off for Paslak or Marai. Potentially, you could have thought about Meunier, but he ended up, like I said, almost single-handedly winning us the game. Same goes for Schultz, not coming on. Delaney was sitting on 4 yellow cards. No way they're risking him, already knowing that Chan got his 5th yellow, which means he will miss the Leverkusen game. So that means only 2 other options, which you could have both brought on. You have Renier and you have Stefan Tigges. Those 2 players absolutely could have came on. If I would have done it, I would have maybe took off Royce and brought on Tigges as an aerial presence late in the game. Because the way I was looking at it, the balls were coming in from Brandt on the right, Sancho on the left, as well as Meunier and Guerrero getting forward. Why not have a bigger body in the box? And Renier is, again, just can't even get into a game like this. We literally used 2 subs, and one was an injury.